Hey everybody, it's Ethan back with another video. Today I'm turning back the clocks to May of 2022. This is the Tour de Bloom Cat 3 crit. Tour de Bloom is a pretty big stage race, takes place up in Washington. This crit for us was a 45-minute crit, and it was a little bit different because it had a punch on every lap and also kind of a cobbled descent. So today I'm gonna take you through a lap of the course so you can see what it looks like, and I'm also gonna talk about how my nerves led to some poor decisions and how not having the best bike hand do a lot of wasted energy that probably cost me a result in the end. You'll have to ignore the weird wattage output right now, even though we're not moving. I promise you it will resolve itself once we get going. Speaking of, here we go. And right out the gate, maybe you saw this in the Portland crit video as well, I did not have a very good start, and crits, it's all about getting that start because you're going to see burning a lot of energy. And here's that first punch I was talking about. Already you can see the watts at 570, 600, 700. People every time were hitting this as hard as they could. Definitely a hard place to move up. But one thing that I found out, especially later, was even though it was going uphill, there was a lot of draft, several hundred watts probably saved by just sitting a little bit closer to people. And coming along the top here, I don't know if it's like this every year, but the wind was coming from right to left. And with the buildings, it created some interesting crosswinds. So here you see me, once again, not doing the smartest thing. I'm moving up on the exposed side and burning another match. Heart rate's already up to 178. Just for reference, my max is around 200, 202. And then there's this cobbled descent. It's actually not as bad as we thought it was going to be. But there were some weird little manholes at the bottom that people had trouble with. And one thing that I learned pretty quickly was the wheel in front of you mattered a lot, because some people would be jamming on the brakes. I'm not completely absolved of that crime, but definitely sometimes people would let gaps open, and trying to be smooth is really important because you didn't get much recovery. It was very fast and you'd have to hit it hard again. Alrighty, now we're about 20 minutes into the race. The heart rate still has not come down, but I've worked my way up and finally can see the front of the race. Took a lot of energy to make it back up to this point, and it just kind of goes to show how important it is to find a position and maintain it. But here I go again, and you see this is where the lack of tactics has really shown itself. I am going hard up the outside in the crosswind. For what? I don't have a purpose here. I'm trying to stay near the front, but I'm not about to attack. And, a couple positions here and there, I should have just sat in the draft. But a couple minutes later, and now I'm deciding it's time to make a move. At this point, it's a little bit farther in the race. I'm assuming everyone else is hurting about the same as me, and that normally is a great idea because it's when people aren't motivated to chase. But it's still a little too early in the race. I don't have any kind of speed differential. I'm sitting here near the front, and I almost have to laugh at myself here. This attack where everyone can see me, that's obviously going to get marked. The thought process, though, was maybe I could take the bottom of this corner better than other people and get a little bit of separation and only drag a couple motivated people, kind of thin out the herd and make it so that there's a little bit less competition, and so that I could be off the front in a smoothly rotating group while the rest of the pack had to surge and chase back onto us. Did not work at all. You can see my heart rate's high. You can't see, I don't have a rear camera, but everyone's sitting right on me here. And just another match that I really didn't need to burn, but I just decided to for no reason because I wasn't thinking clearly. So now we're about 40 minutes in. The race is starting to wind down, and going through my mind, I'm looking towards the front here. I see on the front it's Craig. Craig, the day before, had won by almost 2.5 minutes solo off the front, as he was an extremely strong guy. You see I let this gap open, 1100 watts. That's just unnecessary. I mean, that's like a full-blown sprint just to close it. But the panic's setting in because I'm in a full group, I'm kind of out of position, race is winding down, and I really want to do well. So here, you'll see I decided to try to attack through and bridge up to Craig. my thought process is, if I can make it up to him and sit on for a little bit, he's going to be motivated to get some more time, maybe get some more preems, and I am going to be able to take polls with him after I sit in. You can see heart rate 196, there's about 3 laps to go, and I am all in for this move, which is interesting because it's not my move. I normally am someone who would want to wait towards the end, but like I said, I really want to do well, and I had a lot of nerves, so I decided this was the right move, which it definitely wasn't. But regardless, I was fully committed, so I bridge this gap, and I sit on, and I only get to sit on for about half a lap before we get caught. And I talked to Craig after the race, super nice guy. He just figured that we weren't going to get away, and he didn't want to burn the matches. Can't really blame him for that. It would have been foolish to let me sit on, but a guy can dream, right? And here we are heading into the final lap. If I was going for the sprint, this would be a terrible position. I'm so far forward, I know people are going to burn off. Not that it matters though, because I just did not have it in me. I had done all those late attacks and jacked my heart rate up, and I genuinely just wasn't strong enough to play that card. So here you see me paying for it, everyone's just flying by, letting gaps open up, and the race is over for me because I just used everything to stick with the group up that last climb. Basically what I talk about was how, not taking those corners smooth and not making smart breakaway attempts and just jacking up the heart rate, bad start. All those things compile, and they really add up at the end of the race. And it's one of the big things that I've been learning throughout the season. This was my first full season, and while I made a lot of gains in terms of strength, I think more so I learned a lot more about myself and sticking to the plan. We had set up a plan for me to sprint this. I didn't have faith in myself. So just to remind everyone to come up with a plan that fits your strengths, stick to it, and hopefully get those results. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to drop a like, and if you were there or would have done something differently, comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Anyways, thanks again, and hopefully I'll catch you all in the next one.